So it's the last time, and it's my pleasure to present Aspen Buckingham. He's a member of CAMTA now, one of the newest one, and he is the CEO of Overture Games, co-founder of Intervallic, and a graduate of Bean School of Music at Northwestern University with dual degrees in music composition and computer science. He's currently running a program teaching underserved students at the Chicago Youth Centers in South and West Chicago. And he, together with his partner, Stephen Chung, who was there, and he might appear a little later maybe, were named in Forbes magazine 30 Under 30 local Chicago edition for being co-founders of Intervallic. And they feature young people revolutionizing art, tech, and business in Chicago. And he will present on integrating interactive video games, the case of Intervallic.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come speak with you all. We're going to do a quick, can I turn on the sound? I think it's okay. A quick 7-minute presentation, and then we'll have 7 minutes for feedback, questions, and then we'll give a live demo after that. So we've got the game here, you can try it out. And really what I'm looking for is feedback, because you guys are the experts. And so as you're listening to the presentation, think about what questions you have and what feedback you have for us. Cool, let's keep going. So I'll be talking about integrating interactive games in teaching music, and specifically the case of Intervallic, which is the game that we're working on right now. I myself am a composer, and I also have a huge focus in music technology. Just graduated from Northwestern, and now I'm living in Old Town, so I'm in Chicago, and I'm really happy to be here and be a member of CAMTA. About 2 years into my journey in music in college, I burned out. I struggled to find the motivation to practice my instrument that was sitting right across the room. It was COVID, it was tough, and I eventually realized that I'm not alone. In fact, more than 50% of music students quit in the first 2 years. And by the time they finished high school, 90% of them have stopped playing their instrument. This is a huge problem. It can happen because students struggle with practice motivation. And so we know how important it is to get our students engaged and practicing every day. And what I've found is I've talked to students is sometimes it feels like a chore. They can lack support at home from their parents. And beyond that, they're often distracted. And I've noticed this, and a lot of people have noticed this, attention spans are going down. And it's important that we can engage students and get them excited about their exercises, their scales, especially the things that they might find eventually. So for myself, I ended up making these games that got me excited about practicing again. I made these sheet music board games. I'd sit down with my composer buddies and play them. And there were things like tag, go fish, and I remember back in high school and middle school, some of my favorite group lessons were when my teacher would break out these fun games to play with other students. And so I just want to give a quick shout out too to Kasha and her awesome scale book that uses that fun to get students engaged in playing scales. I remember during the last meeting seeing that and being like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. You get to name your characters while you're learning these scales. And using that game-based approach can be really helpful for students. You may have used musictheory.net or other practice apps to help your students with sight reading, with note learning, things like that. So that's why we decided to make an interactive video game for music students. I took some of my games to the music ed teacher on campus, and she said, you really got to digitize this. This is the future. And so we made a game that helps engage students and helps them with sight reading, scales, and exercises, aural skills, and rhythm. You're controlling a cat on the screen, collecting coins, dodging obstacles, and then by the end of the level, you play a full song. And the goal is to get students engaged and excited to pick up their instrument in the first place. So we found it's a great activity that you can use before lessons to do some exercises. But also, students can use it at home on their iPads and iPhones on their own time without the support of parents there, if their parents are busy or they just don't have that sort of support at home. This is something, this is kind of what it looks like. You've got the notes on the screen, and then just to go back to this last video, there are fingerings for pianists as well. And so not only does it work for piano though, it works for any tonal instrument. We developed our own pitch detection that allows this to work on iPads and iPhones. So it does work for a plugged-in MIDI keyboard, but it will work for trumpet, for bassoon, any instrument. Students can try to get the best score on a level, and they can compare, and it becomes a fun social experience as well. This is possible because our advisor at Northwestern is an expert in developing pitch detection using AI. It's enabled some really awesome things within music technology, and it allows us to separate out the different voices and the different instruments. As of this time, we've conducted over 823 different play tests with students, and what we found is that our beginner audience really is beginner music students. So our first audience is beginner music students. That's where we found the most value. Mostly because once you get around 4 or 5 years into practicing, you've got it down. Students are much more engaged by that time. And so I'd like to share a few stories of people who have been using Intervallic at this time. So Ezra was a Canadian-based student in high school. He struggled to find the motivation to practice his instrument. He was staying up until 3 a.m. scrolling on social media. But when he played our game, he was so motivated to get through a level, he played it 947 times. One of our partner teachers, Peter, has been using this game with his students for two months now. And he found that his students were 88% more prepared for their lessons after using our game. And this was from using scales and exercises specifically. And they would come to the lesson and be like, can we play the kitty cat game? They give it a name. So as we worked with teachers like Peter, what we realized that they wanted to put their own curriculums in the game. They wanted to distribute their own exercises, scales, songs, whatever the students were working on. And so we built our own AI-driven level generator where you can upload your own music and the game generates a level based on that music. We're currently working on making it so you can take a picture, but right now it's MIDI. You upload MIDI and it'll create levels. We're proud to announce we have over 500 users across 12 countries. And what we really like to focus on is that we are not trying to replace teachers. There are a lot of apps out there that say, we're going to be a music app that parents can use at home that's cheaper, it's going to work faster, and it's going to be better than teachers. And we all know that's not true. What we want to do is be a supplemental tool for teachers to use with their students that can help with the practicing at home. But it's not replacing teachers like musician or simply piano are claiming to do. Right now, we're using it in beta partnerships in schools and extracurricular programs, so School of Rock, ETHS, Montessori, and then the Chicago Youth Centers. The Chicago Youth Centers have been a great opportunity for us to help underserved youth around Chicago. And it's been really rewarding using this game with students, especially with students who are starting out with zero experience, just starting music. We've found it's a very great way to get them engaged in a social setting. Both Stephen and I have a lot of experience on the tech side and the music side. So on the tech side, I've been designing games, and I am a computer science major as well. And then Stephen did have a previous music startup where he helped students get into college for music, generating over $2 million in scholarships for those students while he was running that company. We have been invested in by a lot of different places at this point, a lot of educational institutions like NYU, Northwestern, and DePaul. We also have investment from ASCAP, which is one of the leading music licensing companies. So we'll be leveraging that partnership to help get the music that everyone loves onto our platform. And then beyond that, we recently just closed our last fundraising round of $400,000 from Honors Fund. And so we are serious about this. This is a real venture, and we need your input to make this the best it can be. So let's get those 90% of students that are dropping out to keep playing, and let's change the future of music education. Thank you. So I want to open it up to any questions or feedback people have, and then after this, we have a live demo while we're eating. You can come try it out. We'll have iPads, iPhones, and then a MIDI keyboard set up, so you can try that as well. Yeah?
Is it going to be for PC?
Yeah, so we have it out on PC and Mac already. It's on Steam currently, which we realize is probably not the right place. It's a gaming platform, so we may be looking at getting it onto like online websites. At the moment, it's on Steam, and then we're going to iPhone and iPad next. So real quick, before we do a demo live, I'd like to show you a video of one of our students playing with the game. So as he's playing, first he's getting the rhythms wrong, and then because of the aural feedback, the visual feedback, he starts to get a sense for the exercise. He sees the fingering, he sees the notes, the sheet music is on there as well. And so it's a truly interactive experience where he's getting live feedback as he's playing. And then we compose a lot of these like backing tracks that get people excited while they're playing and pumped to play those exercises like Hannah and scales. So then you can choose like the exercise that you want to play. We've got exercises in C major, G major, a circle of fifths. Cool. Okay. So we're going to show with the pitch detection. So you can choose like if you have a different instrument, you can choose your octave, you can choose your instrument, choose your tempo, transposition for transposing instruments, and then I'll start by showing with microphone. So this is just using the microphone, right? And then as you're playing, based on the notes that you're playing, it's going to pick them up and it's going to move the cat on the string. So right now, if I play like C, it's going to shoot that obstacle. And then if you make a mistake, then it will take you back to the last checkpoint that you got. And so what happens is you can create phrases within the game, and students play those phrases over and over until they get the notes correct, and then they can move on to the next phrase. And then if you go to the pause menu, you can see all the different records that you've gotten, and you can go practice the parts of the music that you've unlocked, right, by completing the different phrases. And so it's kind of like real practice, where you practice a phrase at a time until you figured it out. And then if it's too fast, you can go back and you can change the tempo. You can make it slower. So you can start out slow, you can make it faster, so students really can build up over time their skills. Cool, that's my quick demo. You guys can come try it out while we're doing our luncheon and everything too. But I hope you all enjoy it.
So how it's going to work on the phone?
Yeah, so it works the same way on the phone.
But then it has to be connected to electronica, or just acoustic instrument will work?
It works right now on your
I
phone.
know it, but I'm not playing on an instrument yet.
Yeah, so it'll pick up on the audio. So it listens through the microphone and will hear the notes that you're playing.
So you could sing it.
So you can sing with it. Yeah, and we found a lot of people actually will like lie in bed and like sing with it. We've also found that choir teachers are using it with groups of students at a time, where you have the baritone sing the baritone part, you have the tenor sing the tenor part, and then if a student's really struggling, the other ones will make up for it. They'll get through the level together. Or if half the group is kind of getting it wrong, then the cat will hit the cake wall.
So that means it would work with an acoustic piano?
Yes, so this works with acoustic pianos, this works with acoustic guitars, this works with singing, trumpets, bassoon, pretty much any tonal instrument will be able to play this game.
And how would it work with more advanced repertoire?
Yeah, so at the moment it's really focused for beginners. And we'll be looking into how we may be able to advance it, help with more advanced repertoire. The best thing that it does for people who are advanced is the exercises and the scales. So we've found that even advanced musicians are like, oh, this is such a fun way to warm up before I play. But really for beginners, this is centered around beginner musicians.
Do you have different scales, or is it always?
Yeah, so we've got like major scales, major, minor, basic exercises, and then we're looking for feedback about what else people want. Yeah.
I saw that some numbers written on top of the notes, the letters. Is that possible to remove them, or are they always staying there?
So right now, they are always there, but we're gonna put a little checkbox where you can remove them. At the moment, that's like piano fingering, but we realize not everyone who plays the game is gonna be a pianist. So we wanna make this accessible to different instruments as well.
So it'll correct if you're playing, say, forget a sharp and a scale, or in the rhythm. It's assessing both of those.
Yes, so if you're getting the rhythms wrong, you're not going to be collecting the points on the screen. And if you miss a note, like you said, like a sharp or something, you're going to either miss the note on the screen, or you're going to hit the cake wall. And so what we do is if you're way off, you're going to hit the cake wall and it's going to restart you. But if you miss the note by a little bit, you can keep going because people should be able to play through. And so we have that balance between just missing a note by a little bit or missing by a lot.
Can you show us what it would look like with a piece of repertoire?
Yeah, let me pull up a piece of repertoire. I'll do a really simple one here, just like an ode to joy.
Would that be with both hands?
So at the moment, it's just monophonic, which makes it accessible to different instruments like clarinet, bassoon, and like trumpet.
So you could maybe have something, or you couldn't have something. I noticed you had minuet and G in there, and that's got left-hand chord.
Just
but
right
do you
hand?
have only the right hand? Is that what that is?
Yeah, so we just have the right hand. Yeah, and then if you wanted to do like left hand as well, you could create a separate level to practice left hand.
But would it have chords?
It wouldn't have
No.
chords, just monophonic. Yeah. So if I put this down an octave, then I actually can sing it. And so I can show you guys what that's like. Okay, let's see. It's twinkle. So you can see if you miss a note a little bit.
You're gonna have to rewrite the whole.
Yeah, and so this one's very zoomed in, right? You can't see the whole staff, but you can also zoom out and see the whole staff if you'd like as well. And so it's based on level and based on what you're trying to teach. You can zoom in, zoom out.
And how do we?
Yeah, so it's on iPhones and iPads at the moment, so you can scan the QR code that we had up here. I can pull it back
Does
up.
it work with Android?
Not yet, we're working on it. Android microphones are kind of funky, so just coding for them is a little bit harder. Okay, there's a QR code if anyone else still needs to scan it.
Okay, please try it out and support
Yeah.
them. I think this is super exciting. If you're like me, we all grew up analog in our childhood. But you see, the next generation, I see it with my son, they are all the time on the phone. So this is really the future that we have to deal with, and I think it's great that he tries to combine it with something that looks like game-like but can be very educational. I was running around, maybe I missed it, but I suggested it before. We have a couple of Suzuki teachers here, so if
cool.
you can get somehow the license of the Suzukis, the right hands. If you have a Twinkle student and he has to play it 50 times, wouldn't you love to do it with a screen?
Yeah.
And I think we have to just try it out to get a little familiar, and then we can come back with more feedback. So it was fascinating. I emailed him and I didn't hear for days, and then he emailed me back and said like, oh, I'm so sorry, we had a fundraising event, that's why I'm so late. So I was just naive and curious and asked like, oh my God, okay, may I ask how much money did you raise? And he said 250, and then I thought like, it cannot be 250, 250, 250,000, and it sounded like you are up to 400,000, or was that?
Yeah, at this
So
point.
it's amazing. I think there are investors really seeing the future in this. For us, it might be very new, but I think it's really exciting that we can be part of this by trying it out and giving feedback. And you see, it's very approachable. I wish you all the best luck. I
Thank you.
personally would love to have that for more advanced repertoire and also both hands, but of course, maybe it's in the future. That will be wonderful.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, you know, there's a good chance we didn't hit the target right on the bullseye the first time around. And so what we really need is just feedback from people about, you know, what do you actually need as teachers, and how can we, you know, best develop tools for you and for your students to change the future of music education.
So, I mean, he was mentioned in Forbes, so take photos with him. You never know where he will be in 20 years. Thank you so much for presenting.